I can't really look at anything but the dumpster. It's wow, you guys really did your part. So now I have to do mine, which is actually give some feedback on your photos you sent me. Last month, I asked for critique submissions, and you guys knocked it out of the park. I was totally overwhelmed with how many of you sent stuff in. The talent and passion of this group is so incredible. So many of you sent stuff in. Not only that, but you sent in details of the photos and your background and your experience and your photographic journey. And I read every single one of those. Very cool. I'm going to cover all of them that I got, not today, but eventually. I'm not filtering anything. We're just going to go through roughly in the order they were received. If you sent me an Instagram feed, which I did ask for as an option, I probably responded to you, but I'm going to handle those separately in an all Instagram video sometime down the road. I didn't really have any guidelines, which I realized was a problem pretty quickly. So please just send me a couple JPEGs, no RAW files, no TIFF files, no WeTransfer links. And if you could name the files with your name or your handle, how you would like that to appear, that would help me out a lot. If you want the license plate blurred, please do that before sending. And if you are emailing me at the address, you're giving me permission to use these files in a video for education purposes. I realized after the last video that it might be confusing if you thought I was going to do one-on-one feedback or something. So I tried to make it extra clear then, but going forward, I'm just assuming the rights thing. I know you want to send in the highest resolution possible for maximum detail and the least compression, but I'm not really looking at that. I'm not looking at 100%. If the files are too large, I'm immediately just going to save them in a smaller size. Should be just a couple or a few JPEGs that fit in an email. So let's jump in. First up, we've got Eddie Heredia. And I'm just going to say, if you sent like 10 photos in, I'm probably going to go through them very quickly, not delve too deep. If you sent me one, I'll probably sit and look at it for a while. That's just kind of how it is. This one really jumped out at me. I know this is just a weird detail. It's like a really clear focal point. I think it's cool. I love like the obfuscation of like the glass reflection in front of it. I'm just a sucker for that type of photo. I dig this one. This one jumped out at me. Obviously, these with the yellow car, very bright. So this one, I'm not sure like what we're looking at. I don't know. This one, I think the shadows are kind of messy. Our verticals are not super straight. I don't like how the wheel is turned in the direction that it shouldn't be turned. I know this probably, I don't know if you could have parked it or if it was just a car you found or at a show or something. We'll go to this M3. I do think this was a more deliberate composition because it is clearly like a little bit tighter focal length, maybe a 50 or something. On the detail in the car, the colors are nice. Contrast is pretty good. It's still not jumping out at me. And I think the edit is pretty good. I would probably crop so I don't have this car here. I think this is a pretty good foundation. I'm always going to look for something that like makes it a little more dramatic and pop. And I don't know if you're going to find that here. All right, here we have, I think this might be an ND Miata. I don't know why we've isolated just this part of the headlight. It's not the full headlight. It's not like a particularly arresting perspective or anything. I'm just not crazy about this one. I don't like the shadows and how there's this light that's blown out. The sunlight, I mean, not the light. These are a lot of vertical poles. Almost enough that it maybe could cancel out and not be distracting, but it is not enough that it does that. And it's... I'm not laughing at the picture. I'm just laughing that there's just so many poles, and that's like a real kind of pet peeve of mine. It's just, it's tricky. I'm just not crazy about this location. Maybe if you had more separation between the background and the car, you know, a softer focus on the background, this could work. But I'm just not wild about this. We've got the same car We've got more vertical poles in the background, and we've got like no room on this edge, on the bottom edge. And again, these shadows are kind of messy. We've got like a little shard hotspot here. I'm just not wild about this crop or this scene. I guess this is the same place. Again, the shadows of this location are just making it really challenging because we've got like this light across this navigation system, and the outside's a little blown out, the inside's a little underexposed. I wouldn't say the solution is to do like HDR, like bring up the shadows and bring down the highlights or anything like that, but maybe making this an interior photo. In these lighting conditions, I would just either focus on just getting the interior or just an exterior. We've still got a lot of these vertical things. I think there's potential here. I think you could have exposed for this bumper. You've got this hot spot. You've got this here, cropped in tighter. It could have been maybe like a really dramatic light on the rear of this car. The background would be darker. It would give us like a little bit of separation. I mean, my eye goes straight for this 25-mile-an-hour speed limit sign, or maybe these letters. So if I were taking the photo, I would change my perspective to just avoid that. That's the kind of thing I'd be looking for in the scene. Now this one, I love this car. I dig this Civic in the yellow, probably the Honda Indy yellow pearl. It's a weird crop here. We don't have a lot of room at the bottom. Our vertical perspective is kind of whack. Now this one, it's a cool car. Like I said, it just kind of looks like a snapshot. Like we just took a photo kind of very casually. It doesn't look like a very composed scene. We talked about this one. I dig it. Now here's a shot. I'm spending a lot of time on Eddie's photos, but he was the first to submit pictures. So give it up for Eddie. I feel like I'm roasting him to the maximum, but I don't mean to. This line here is odd, how this curb intersects with this windshield so perfectly. There's, about like happy accidents. This is like an unhappy accident. This does not bring me joy to see this line go through. So an easy solution would be to crop this. But one thing is to think about this when you're shooting, to look for these types of things and then just slightly change your perspective or distance or whatever and avoid them. And I mean, honestly, like digital photos, it's cheap. Storage is cheap. We can shoot so many photos. So take more pictures and try more things. It takes a while to learn to get to where you're like, I'm going to avoid this line thing. It wouldn't be immediately apparent. But when you do have more pictures, you have more options when you're selecting. You might not know to look for it in the moment when you're shooting, but you will, when you have time and you're at the computer and you're making edits, that's when you can look for those things and say, oh, I didn't see this then. Now that it's on the screen, I see it. And I've got an alternate where that's not happening. So thank you, Eddie. Let's go to Carlos Ayuso. We've got a Land Cruiser. This is a really cool background. And this is the point where I'm going to say that I didn't have guidelines on photos to send me, but if you send me vertical, it's not going to be as optimized for a 16:9 YouTube video. So I think square or wide is going to be preferred format to send in for this. And Carlos sent me. He did not know that because I did not know that, and I did not put that out there. So he did send me 4 very vertical photos, but they're still cool. We're gonna talk about them. This is a really tight. We've got no edges on this. I would like to see this wide. This is a really cool building. If this is a house, if this is a business, it's super cool. I would like to see more of that with a wider image, maybe a lower perspective, just because it looks kind of like we're at eye level or something here, or a higher perspective. We've got this seatbelt. we've got huge contrast between this outside and the seat, and everything is very blue. And I don't know. I don't think that this seat is supposed to be blue. I would want to shift that color a little bit so that it's not so blue on the seat. I do like the separation. I love this like kind of glare here. So here we've got, I don't think it's a Maybach. I think that's a Mercedes. Again, cool location. I don't know where this is. Black car, did pretty good with the reflections. Could use some more room on the edges, maybe a lower perspective or something, but I do like the tones on the hood here. I don't know if I like this glass color, this like mirror, or I don't know what is doing that. It is cool, but also kind of weird. And then the headlights seem a little overexposed. Now this is very cool. This is a Lexus LC. I really dig. I like the perspective here. We've got this fence. We've got this ground in the foreground. Looks really nice. It's like an inviting road scene. Even in the vertical, we've got a little bit more room on the edges, which is nice to see. This kind of tells a story of, that maybe someone closed their gate after leaving their manor with their LC. This could be helped with using a circular polarizer. This windshield would go from white to being black and transparent, and we'd see a little bit of interior, or at least have just like greater contrast. This hood would get less white and more yellow, and the side would probably not change. So that would be cool. It would be cool if we could have like these running lights on. Not a deal breaker at all. It's a neat photo. It looks like it's out of like a Gran Turismo Escape, and I mean that in a good way. I think that's cool. So thank you, Carlos. Reynold Xu. We've got this Alpha. It's a car show type of scene, which obviously means not as much control over any kind of factors. Car looks really good. Perspectives look good. We've got people in this scene. I don't like seeing just like these half heads cut off here. So either get lower or get higher. Probably get lower. Looks like you were pretty low because you're like eye level with this very small Alfa Romeo. So. But maybe the camera could get lower. Maybe a tighter crop would be cool. I love this location. This is such a cool location. I would love to shoot anything here, and these bikes look cool. The ground is really overexposed. It's really hot, and our perspective is a little weird. Even if we had to fake it, I would want to rotate that one of the ways. I don't know which way. To the left, rotate that a little bit to the left, a couple degrees. I would love to see this like underexposed with this light on these bikes and this highlight, but very cool scene, and cool composition too. It's not centered. It's over here. We've got good room around it on all sides, but it's not directly in the center. It's a cool shot. If you have the opportunity to shoot something else there, I would love to see that. And then this is a cool autumn road scene. I really dig this shot. You could probably go a little warmer and maybe even a touch brighter, give it a little more punch, but it's a cool shot. I love the depth of field. There's a lot to like about this photo. We've got cool foreground stuff happening. Very cool shot. Thank you. So Paulo, I included his thing because he sent me. Paulo wanted Motor.Midia, but I named the folder that, but there's a period there, so I can't put that in a folder. So anyway, we've got 4 shots of this GT3. These are cool. You know your way around the camera. I'm not convinced that the blue is like totally consistent. I feel like it's a little bit greener in this shot than this one. Your perspective is not perfect in this one, and if you're going to do this type of shot, like you can see that it's kind of leaning down this way, so it might be something you could fake. It might be something that you would just have to be really careful when shooting. But if you're going to do this shot, you want to get it closer to accurate, and I do not like how that curve is just cutting through there, just touching that corner. We've got a cool shot of the exhaust tips. This is really blown out here. I don't know if we could have repositioned the car. It had maybe trees in the background or something to give us contrast between the body and this, or just underexpose this a little bit. But I don't love losing everything here. Again, I feel like the blue on the, if you look at this part of the car versus this, I don't think that blue is even. Seat has a little bit of blue in it, and I know that's a black seat, or pretty sure it's a black seat. But it's a cool perspective of the seat. No notes really. I'm really nitpicking. I like it. I like having, I like what you did. I would maybe take the headrest and maybe dodge that a little or brighten that. Not whatever, dodge. Whatever way you use to brighten something. Spot adjustment levels. And then this shot. Very cool, dramatic shot. Impactful. I don't know what if you had a polarizer on your lens. It's possible, but it's possible for this to be a little more transparent than it is. It's possible for this to be a little more car color than it is. So that would be cool to see. And then I would take out this pole right away because that's an easy fix. Very cool. Thank you for sending that in. All right, so now we've got Johnavan Valenzuela. I can read. I'm just sitting far from the computer because I don't want to get into it. I'm gonna talk about this vertical pole again. It bugs me that there's just one like thing there. Actually, it would be cool to do a thing where you had this like pole as like a scene divider, where it's like intentional, like perfectly straight in the scene, and there was some compositional reason it was there. I like having the people here. I think if you were like 10 feet further and zooming in closer and you had like a detail of this headlight intercooler setup and these people in the background, I think that would be a stronger shot. Here we've got an RWB interior. We can read most of the script on the wheel. Good colors. Good edit. Good edit on the last one too. I liked that. Yeah, maybe let's see a little more of the steering wheel. I realized that was different with this pole here. Or maybe a detail on a tachometer or something. I really have no qualms with any of this, but I think if it wasn't yellow, I don't know if this would jump out at me. So this time the vertical pole is a smokestack chimney thing. I like this detail of the taillights. I like the tones. The edit is cool. Yeah, just like there's a way, if there's a way to frame it where that chimney's not there, and it'd be a stronger shot. Although there is a connection between smokestack and this muffler, so maybe that's what you were going for. This is a really cool perspective. I like this little bit of foreground blur here. I really like this perspective. I think this is a really strong shot. I dig it. It's got kind of like a film grain look to it. I don't know if it was film. I would go ahead and like edit out like your Starbucks cup. But no, I dig this. There's a vertical version of this that's cropped here. I'm not a big fan of this wheel, so maybe cropping that out, I'd be like, I would like that more. But I dig the car. I dig the shot. Thank you. All right, Wayne Sin. These shots kind of blew me away. Wayne knows what he's doing. These are just really cool. We've got this Defender in this scene. Looks like Sierras or something to me, but I don't know. It could be many places on Earth. It could be Argentina, but it is just a cool shot of this car. We've got this incredible background, and the car is just well positioned, well exposed. It's really pretty. Like, this would be a great wallpaper. I think maybe it's like a little over sharpened. Yeah, like got a little bit of haloing there. But I mean, these mountains, like that is so good. So I dig this. Really, this is amazing. It is appears to be a Jeep. I love like a sunset silhouette. It might be cooler if like the Jeep wasn't in like camping mode with the tailgate open, I think. But really very cool colors. And then this one, we've got this 350Z. This photo looks like it has like an infrared filter or something applied. I wish this tree was like anywhere else, or if the car was anywhere else. I don't know a lot about these like infrared type shots, but whatever was applied, like I'm not crazy about it being on like the telephone pole and everything. Like, not saying get rid of those, I'm just saying like having those also be pink is kind of like a little bit odd. But I'm nitpicking. Obviously, I'm talking about that because everything else is pretty solid. Like the framing is cool, the road looks good, the car looks good, perspective looks good. But yeah, these are three like very impactful images, and that is always like what I'm drawn to, is just something where it's like, yeah, I want it to be technically good, but I want it to have some kind of like punch to it that just, kind of pops, and these all have something. Kaveh Saidi, like I said, I can read. I'm sitting far from the screen. These were taken, I think some of these were taken in like a museum or something. I'm just not crazy about this background, this flag being here. And we're not perfectly centered. You can see the gap. You can see the gap here is not the same as the gap here. We're close, but it's not totally centered. Doesn't need to be centered, but if you're going to go for this type of shot, you're going to want it to be centered. I like seeing this kind of like chipped up area at the bottom, so maybe even getting the camera closer, looking more upward, looking at the headlight, having this in the foreground could have been cool, but that background's always going to be tricky. And this, I'm not drawn to a wheel from this perspective. We've got a lot of reflections and light going on. The ground is very blue, so I don't know if we've got like a really blue edit, but there's like chromatic aberrations here, like this color fringing where you see like the purple. You can fix that by kind of doing a takeout purple out of this area, but sometimes it means you're a little overexposed or you're pushing the limits of your lens. Now this is, I don't like this crop. I don't like the orange on orange. And then again, we've got another Corvette. I think the blue one was a Corvette. We've got another Corvette, and the wheel we're at kind of an odd angle. There could be something cool here where if you really did something with this reflection, I'm not really into this perspective. And I'm sorry I was just kind of brutal on all four of these. This is a tough setting to get photos, honestly. It's you're doing yourself no favors by going into like a museum with department store lighting. Like it's going to be really tough. All right, so we're going to move on. Thank you. Jon Pearson sent this. He sent one photo. He spared my inbox, and for that I'm grateful. Although I like all of the submissions. This is an Audi R8 panning shot at speed. This thing, I mean, it is super sharp. Totally nailed the capture. It seems to be sharp throughout. We've even got the orange connected to here. I kind of wish this orange was like, I don't know, like maybe somewhere else, like just dead center. Maybe it is better being dead center. We've got a lot of room top and bottom, and I'm just gonna kind of nitpick about like that wall, like just is right at that roof line. It's just like so close. I just wish we were a little lower in our perspective, or a little higher, or something. But it's a cool shot, technically great shot, great colors. It pops. So thank you. All right, this is Mr. Go Accelerate. He sent a bunch of photos drifting. These have like a cool like film look. I don't know if they're film. I can't remember if some are film or some are not. That's a neat shot. Perspective is a little bit whack. The horizon, you could straighten that, but I like the colors. I like this like ocean scene. Same thing here. I wish we didn't have this car. I'm not anti-Mustang, but it would be cool if this was isolated. I'm jumping around. Sorry. This super cool action. I actually like seeing like the other photographer here. Maybe a little bit slower shutter speed would give us more blur. Like you can tell the front wheel is totally frozen. So we do have the sense of speed from the sliding, like the tire smoke, but yeah, here too, like I would love to see like a little bit of action, a little bit of blur from a slow shutter. The shot is not blowing me away, but you got a long lens. I don't know, maybe it's the colors. I like this foreground interest here. Maybe a crop here, or shooting something tighter would be interesting. Love this car, a cool composition. If this is film, it's very impressive. If it's not film, I kind of want to see what you can do with a realistic, more natural color edit. I'm not going to tell anyone that they can't edit the photos how they want, or they have to look like the way I edit or whatever. But if you want to do things, or if you want to get into magazines or do types of things, like you kind of have to do like a more realistic color edit where it looks a little bit more like the real colors. I'm not saying you have to do that, but something to try. It's helpful to know that, to make a dramatic photo without relying on like a wild color edit. Another like lonely vertical shots of cars. I don't know what this guy's doing. And this, we've got nothing on the edges. We've got a really hot on the front of the car, like hot spot. The colors are a little over the top. I would like to see this framed in a more evenly lit and more background. This is cool. I love the blooming on this light. Again, it is like a bit like snapshotty, and it is cool. It is a cool vibe. Like you have a consistent vibe. But yeah, I would work on getting some more slow shutter action shots, and try working with some other edits. And if you shot all of this on film and I'm telling you to like, oh, like don't color grade it so much, like then you can just, I'm an idiot. So sorry. All right. This is NOS. All right. All right. I am not laughing at your photos, but what am I going to point out here? Well, I can't really look at anything but the dumpster. This was shot at 85 millimeters. Good perspective, good positioning of the car, even light. It's just that dumpster, man. And then this too. If you're a little lower, I mean, it would be very possible when you're in the scene and you're like, hey, there's a dumpster there. You could get like 1.5 foot, maybe 2 feet to your right and get lower. This is gone. This is gone. The Jeep would block both of them out. We got an interior shot with a Mustang. It's really contrasty. Like, this isn't the right place to do this. And do we have some like crazy paddle shifters on this car? This isn't a great location to take an interior shot or the time of day. I like this. I really like these tones, this gradients in this paint. Maybe I would maybe want to crop, like just see a little bit more on the left side and on the bottom, just a little bit. But it's cool. Like this works for me. This looks like it was taken in the 70s. We've got a Century, and the door handle of like a Suburban. Yeah, I don't know what you could do, but this is one situation where the first thing I would try would be like, oh, can I get lower? If I get low enough, I'm shooting looking up enough, maybe I'm not going to see that other car next to it. So that's what I would be trying. I'm not saying this car ruins the photo, but it takes me out of it a little bit. We got 2 action shots at night. Oh man, these like headlights on this Corvette. I'm not judging the cars, just the photos. But these headlights, like pretty dramatic, very blue color edits. Does this have angel eyes? It's a pretty solid shot. I don't know. Maybe a little tighter in. You definitely have some cool movement here, like almost coming off of the Corvette. Yeah, I don't know. These might look really cool in black and white. And we've got a very lowered. Wait, I thought this was a Honda, but this is an Isuzu. Okay, this just got way cooler. Is this an Isuzu? Yeah, so this is a beautiful background. I have no problems with these trees like coming out of the car because there's so much distance and they kind of fill this sky space. I think with a circular polarizer, we would have some more transparency in this, and this hood would be less white. I know I keep saying some of the same things. There is something uncanny looking about this, and I don't know if it is. Like, there's something where it's almost like the perspective is not adding up to me, and it might just be because my eyes are not used to looking at a car this low with the wheels at this camber. But it's an impressive car, really even, nice scene. I would love to see some more stuff, just like sort of, you know, different perspectives and everything. But this is like a solid shot for sure. All right, we've got Daniel dk.cr2. I wrote out the dot because it's dk.cr2, I think, online. And these are really cool shots. I really liked these. I saw this car at Pebble Beach one year. we've got like I like the shot. I would like to straighten the perspective of these outside things. It would be cool maybe to see like the headlight of the Countach that's next to it. That would be cool. But yeah, I like the shot. This like dead center perspective. You got to do it with this car because it's got this, this divider in the middle. So yeah, like this was the move. But yeah, maybe a little bit more background on the sides, and then let's like fix the verticals. This is, I'm going to assume this is your Golf because you got it photoed twice. I like this shot. I like this location. I like these. Nothing is distracting. It's cool. We've got cool shadows. We've got a cool like sun flare here. I mean, maybe I would like to see the blacks a little blacker, but that's a really small nitpick. But yeah, you did good with reflections are pretty nice. Like glass looks good. These buildings are kind of hitting behind the car in a way where it's not bad. And you've framed the car really well in the scene and framed it within these columns. So very cool location and perspective. And when you're up high like this, this is like a multi-story garage. So when you're up high, you get access to the good light. This is a car show shot, I'm presuming, and this is very cool. Like, I really dig this foreground interest. I mean, again, if we're judging a car show photo, you can't like move things behind it. You can't reposition the car. So I think you did really well to capture an evocative image in this scene. And then, of course, the interior is like very nicely exposed and colored and everything. Here's the last shot. I'm just going to say the roof kind of hits the horizon at a weird spot, but I like the tones. I like this. I like the headlights illuminating the ground. We've got a good sky. They're like, I don't know. With this one, I would maybe be looking for a little more punch or saturation or something. Or maybe if you were lower and the car was intersecting with the sky, but it's good stuff. Next up, Tanner Quintero, and we've got 2 group shots, which are really tricky to do that because I'm looking at all 3 cars. I think this would be a strong shot if it was any one of these cars. I think it's with the 3 it gets tricky because it's like, why are the windows down on these 2 cars but up on this car? The wheel angle on the Mercedes, I don't like that. I like the background. I like this location. It is a really heavy color edit. It's very, very dark. If there was nice tones on the sky, I would have liked to see that. And I think we've got like a little too much sharpening. It's a little bit crispy. I don't know if there's maybe a bit too much clarity, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not crazy about this arrangement of cars because they're not perfectly in line, but they're also not differently lined up. If you're gonna line up 3 cars, like you want them to be lined up better. Otherwise, framing is pretty good. Background is beautiful, like beautiful location. I would like to see single photos of each of these cars maybe to really judge. We've got a cool background. Everything is really brightly lit for nighttime. It's, again, I'm not really judging the photo for its technical merits because I'm having trouble with the arrangement of the cars. I'm seeing the tire tread on these 2 cars, which I don't like to see. I mean, this makes me want to see the picture. Like this arrangement was clearly to be looked at from in front of the Raptor. And when we're standing over here, it's making me think, like, why are we looking at it from this perspective? That said, color on the Subaru looks pretty good. I mean, you balance the colors and everything pretty well. It pops. You got a Michael Mann like street scene of wet street for reflections and everything. But yeah, I would like to see these like 1-on-1 here, or like a 1 and 2, or even 3. It's tough to get 5 cars together and do everything right. And this perspective is just not. I don't love this perspective. I would focus more on just doing 1 car at a time and get that like really, really good before you start trying to do 5 cars, and then try different arrangements. Thank you. All right, Ryan T. Ryan is in Houston. I know that because I recognize these spots. That is a cool glow on this Beetle. I'm not even that bothered by the power line. You couldn't just take out the one because the lines have to have somewhere to go. Neat colors. I like how you've got this in the foreground. Good gap to this one. For a street scene, like casual, like it is pretty cool. Now this one, yeah, I don't know. Okay, so I'm gonna bring these two together. These are similar. It's just like a corner detail. Both of these shots, if you had like a polarizer, like there is an angle, especially it's not direct, nice like sun. It's like overcast or something. A polarizer would take away this like white and give us a real punch of the color, the paint color. The crop here is to look at the badge, and it doesn't seem deliberate enough. This is an Estral Blue M3. I like how you got the lights on. I like how you got the yellow lights. I dig the colors. I like the spot. It's not like knocking my socks off, but and this would be cooler maybe in a wide shot, and maybe the vertical is what's hurting the impact for me. But it's totally solid. We got a newer M3. Cool location, really cool building, like the Teutonic grayness of the scene and the car. Nothing distracting is taking away from the background. Like good, got a cool low perspective. Yeah, it's a really solid shot. Here we've got an M Coupe, a cool sun glare here. The roof is hitting like really close to the horizon maybe. And I'm always kind of like, why is there a car parked in the road? He's wondering the same thing maybe. But yeah, I like the vibe of this, as they would say. So we've got a DeLorean here. You've got a filter, some cool star stuff going on with the headlights. Yeah, maybe a crop of just part of this would be more interesting, have more impact. Right now, I'm not crazy about the telephone pole here. Very nice 356. I think it's I don't know. There's like 5,000 blues. Nice 356 by the water. Kind of wish it was on the road or like on the grass. I know you probably didn't have a control over where it's parked, but if you don't have control over where it's parked, that's when you can do crops or details or something like that. If it's in the grass, I want it to be like in the grass, or if it's on the road, I want it to be on the road. But this is like it drove off the road. This is kind of hitting the roof line odd. I'm nitpicking. It is like you've got nice tones. Good, you left room around the edges. Like it is nicely shot. Like I'm just thinking of ways to like fine tune this. This is Formula One. Maybe, no, Formula 2 or something. I don't know. This is at Circuit of the Americas. It's always tough with the fences. I'm not nuts about this. Got two shots from Food and Driver 365. I'm very distracted by these plants in these trees in plastic bags. I'm sorry about that. I don't know. If you got lower, the tones are nice. I like the taillights being lit up. I like the car. It's probably a very beautiful place. I'm struggling with like some of the stuff in the background, and maybe just a more dramatic edit would really make this pop. And the same thing here. This edit is not doing a lot, and then you've got this stripe here. I'd either take that out, or it'd be cool if it was, if the stripe was perfectly aligned with the grill or something. I know this is a cool car cool color in real life, and I think there's like potential here to get something more dramatic. But this is maybe not the best time of day to shoot the car. All right. This is Mike, traveling photographer. We've got another dumpster. You got a light painted shot. I think light painting is cool, but you got to really be careful about the background. And it looks like it's wearing this house as a hat. And we've got a Ford Explorer here, and I don't know what it looked like from the other angle or anything, but when you are light painting, like a lot of things in the photo are kind of faked. So I don't know if it's possible with the layering to get darker. Clearly, you did something with the headlights where you composited images from the light painting, images with the headlights lit. And I would like to see like less brightly lit taillights. If you have edits without the taillights lit, like it's not looking cool from this perspective. Yeah, just really think about the background. The light painting looks technically pretty solid. I don't know if this is like a firehouse and it's supposed to be in front of that, but I'm not. Yeah, the framing, like the way that the car is in front of the building, I don't love. All right, Billy H sent this. Now horizon is pretty whack. I'll straighten that out. Colors look good. Car is cool. I can't tell. It looks pretty sharp. Yeah, it looks pretty sharp on the panning shot. It's a nice edit. Maybe I'd take this out. Be pretty simple. Yeah, it's just a couple tweaks. I think it's a really solid shot. I love when you have like a bright, attention grabbing car that's just a part of a bigger scene. I think that's always cool. So thank you, Billy. All right, Broden Cline sent me a bunch of pictures. We got F50 at a car show. This is a cool crop. When I talk about why are we focused on what part of the car, when I look at this photo, there's no question. We've got the headlight here. It is very crisp. It is centered. You know it's the focal point. Paint is popping. I mean, it's coming off, but it's still, the color is just right. The chrome is popping. Like, this is how you do like an impactful detail shot. I really like that. Here we've got a series of an RWB build. I don't know, is this like someone's knee or something? Yeah, I don't know. I want the blacks to be blacker. I want maybe a little bit wider, a little bit further back, just so the car has a little bit more room to breathe. We've got the RWB guy. I can't think of his name. I've been doing this for an hour. Cool picture here. I like how it's like in the moment he's doing this thing, but it looks like a portrait for something. I think that's a cool shot. I like this. I love the impact of this shot. I even like how these power lines, it's like very distant. It's a really beautiful location, obviously. Maybe if you had a little bit lower perspective, have the bike kind of like encroaching into the sky a little bit, that might be cool. Maybe you tried that, it didn't work. I don't know. This is a crazy busy interior through no fault of you. So yeah, I don't know what to look at. And that's a fault of the car, but it might be cool to focus on some details here rather than absorb it all at once. Beautiful shot, beautiful bike. Really cool. Nice light. Great exposure, great colors. I love these bikes. I would have liked to see the bike like maybe 2 feet to the left, like not quite in the sun maybe, but a little bit of space away from the wall. But yeah, that's really nice work. Same bike. Not as crazy about the scene. Maybe if it was a little bit away from the wall. I don't know. I don't really like the graffiti directly here. It's always tough with a wall that's not quite blank, like what you want to have it align with. We've got a weird door above it. Maybe that was the intention for the alignment. Yeah, a very eclectic wall. Very interesting wall. This wall has seen some shit. All right. JT Kerr sent these two autocross photos. We got an E36. This is like tack sharp. This is how you do it. We've got a great sense of speed. It's a shame about the cone being right there, and the guy, he looks like he's Vin Dieseling it with one arm on the thing. And I know that he's got like it's turned, but it's just kind of funny. Good composition, good framing, great sense of speed. Maybe a more dramatic color edit would be something. I'm just nitpicking. If you were on the other side of the car, because the car is turning left, so if you had been on the other side, or if you could get the car going through a corner where it's turning away from you as opposed to you being inside the corner. Yeah, if you're on the outside of the corner as opposed to the inside of the corner, the roll looks cooler. Not that this car doesn't have a lot of roll. It's probably very stiff. But if you're on the outside of the car in a corner, the roll looks cooler. It hunkers down as opposed to here where it's kind of rolling away from you. We're kind of seeing the side that is rising. So that's just something to keep in mind for the future. And then here we've got a Focus. It's a really dark edit. Still not quite as sharp. it's always tough with like a quarter like this because something's gonna be sharp and something inevitably will not be sharp. But yeah, with something like this, I'm always gonna want like a headlight or front wheel to be sharp. And yeah, I mean, I can't tell because of the resolution, but it probably is. But yeah, I would like to see a little bit more ground and brighten this up a little bit. So thank you for sending those in, JT. Phillip West sent these, and the file names I can deduce that these two are Fuji, which is why we'll get to that. And then these are Nikon. So clearly I dig the car. We've got a cool scene here. We've got some really dramatic light. The light is really hot on the hood of the car. We got some kind of weird reflections in the side. And I don't know if the color grade is a Fuji thing or what, but everything is a really sepia with this brown car. So maybe repositioning it or using a polarizer. You could either use a polarizer to maybe take down this hood glare or take out this on the side. You probably can't do both, but I would do one of them. I like how the wheels are picking up some lights. It's a neat scene. Some improvement could be made. We got another cool scene. Really dramatic sun through these trees. Very sepia again, and I don't know if that's a Fuji thing, but let's keep going. There's some cool ones in here. This is a really nice scene. Great time of day. Very nice even light. This silo thing, it doesn't bother me. It's a cool element. Maybe if the car was a little more to the right and they kind of intersected a little bit, that would be cooler. And then this, I don't know, that's whatever those bars are, kind of bugs me. But I'm just nitpicking. I love the foreground here. Cool perspectives, finding cool places, shooting at good times of day, and using a very cool car as a subject. So you're doing it right. Here we've got the same car in a heavily wooded scene. Yeah, I don't know. It's very glary. This is where maybe I would find some crops or do some angles. It's a cool thing. Maybe even just underexposing this a little bit to take down those whites. Yeah, I don't know what to say. This is a cool location in the port of Baton Rouge. There's distance between us and the car and distance between the car and the background. I think that's cool. And then we've got the car in this very interesting bridge. Great colors in all of these, like all of the Nikon ones. Great colors. I can tell you were probably limited as far as composition of like, well, I can't put the car anywhere or the car gets partially blocked. I think this adds something. I think this plant adds something, but I also don't know if it was a choice or if it was just like this is kind of what we're kind of forced with the space. It'd almost be cool to have like a head-on shot of the car and we're cropped in on like one headlight and a bridge sequence of the car like perfectly straight towards us. I think you were just limited to what you do with the composition, but what you did, the great highlight too on the car. The white highlight is awesome. It's a tricky spot here. It looks like, but yeah, very cool background. Thank you for sending those. Patrick Kessler, and I think I remember Patrick said I shoot action and drifting and just sort of starting to get into stills, and these were those. We've got like a van in the background. I'm always gonna pick out weird things in the background that bug me, but I do like the color, like the tones in the Jeep. Maybe a little more space around it, and then maybe a little less like clarity, sharpening. That was a little fried there. Nice, really nice sunset. I would maybe either crop out the plate completely or include all of it. And then I don't know if you could take out these power lines. It might be a pain. The ground is getting really blue. Like there's a lot of saturation, which works here, but you probably don't need as much saturation like in the blues and the greens. Beautiful sunset. And then, yeah, your drifting shots are pretty killer. I was looking at this. I was like, this is like super sharp. Like all the words that you're like, yeah, I want to read what this says. They're all perfectly sharp. But the wheels, you can see there's so much speed. He's not shooting at, an 800th or something. This is a good slow shutter. The smoke is blurred and coming off the car. Amazing sense of speed, like super sharp shot. And yeah, I love it. I love it. This is cool. Not as bright, not as like, dramatic time of day. But yeah, like good smoke, good action. It's so funny that these three cars are the same color blue. Yeah, these are really cool drifting shots. And then, yeah, that's nuts. That is full send. Yeah, that's a cool shot. This is one of the only times where I say that the tire being turned pointed at you works, because it's like, this is total chaos. It's so much speed. Awesome. Thank you for sending those in. Tony Pearse. We got two shots. This is an RX3. I can tell because it says RX3. I like rotaries, but I can't tell these 70s ones apart all the time. I love this. I love this reflection in the ground. I dig this edit, really, like the greens. I like what you've done with the colors. But yeah, I don't know. If you get lower, you won't have this kind of all the roofs being the same place height-wise, but then you're going to lose some of this. So maybe you can get higher or stand on something. Yeah, if you get, I don't know, it's cool. Or maybe crop this in some way when you're shooting. But yeah, I just like this ground. This reflection is really cool. And then whoever got an RX-7, I would crop out this dude probably, and then a circular polarizer would make this go totally clear and dark and transparent. And you've got this black car, and it would be only the good highlights with a polarizer, I think, from this perspective. All right, Ryan Pham. I've got a modified Honda Civic in the state of Georgia. Sorry if you don't want me zooming on your plate. I mean, people are going to see the plate. The colors, I like the colors. It's like like a saturated, like really bringing out that red. This is a cool, like centered, like in the street scene with really great foliage, like good time of day. Maybe a polarizer would help knock back some of these reflections on the roof. I don't know, but yeah, of all the vertical things in the background, there's nothing like intersecting with the car weird. So you were considering that, and I like to see that. Yeah, this one, the vertical, this is kind of intersecting weird. I don't know. This is kind of eye level. It feels kind of snapshotty to me. It's not. Doesn't look like a composed, like purposeful shot, like if you had like low perspective with the wheel turned. And then here we've got this car at a quick time. Yeah, I like the red theme, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not wild about gas station shots because it's just kind of like you get what you get. You get what the lighting gives you, which is not always bad. I like the reds, but otherwise I'm not crazy about this location. Here we've got a detail, but maybe if you had like a running light on, it would really kind of laser beam your eyes to something. But right now we're kind of looking all over. This crop is tough when you've got a car in the background. I'm not really liking that, and the color is not matching these other ones. So I don't know if you used a different camera or what. Thank you. So Bill Kwok sent these photos. These are two very cool BMWs. I'm not wild about these arrangements of the cars. We've got like snow flurries. We've got a cool background. Everything seems a little bright. The E36 looks incredible here. I think a polarizer maybe would help us out with some of these white reflections. And maybe there was one and it did nothing. It could very well be true. But this is the angle for this car. This angle is not working super well for the 1M. This looks like the tallest car ever. I don't know. It's the angle is not helping the car. We don't have a lot of ground here. Maybe this was like a wide angle lens. Anyway, there's no metadata, so I can't see what lens this is, but this looks like it was like, I don't know, 35, 40, 50. This car would probably be helped with like a real telephoto to give off some of the nuances of the body, because it just looks so puffy right here. I think this E36, this is the angle for this car. Absolutely. Not a great angle on that 1M. And I like the 1M. I kind of want to see more of the side of it. Yeah, we've got kind of some too much space. I don't like this arrangement. It doesn't look like this was an arrangement. It looks like you had the cars parked for this shot and then when said, "Oh, I'll get something from this one too." This one is a cool idea. I dig the sharp background, blurred car. Purple is looking a lot different than here, but that happens sometimes with dark metallic colors. Since this is a photo set where we've got multiple photos, you've got that context, you could go even more blurry. Like I would kind of want more blur on the M3 so that it almost is unrecognizable because you've got the context that you know what it is. Like the way that the purple pops against the white snow is super cool. So this is a great arrangement of cars, great location, great background. I just think there's some things that would make this pop more. But yeah, this is the perspective for this car. All right, thank you for sending those in, Bill. The last one, don't look at my numbering. I jumped ahead. I know Vijay, I met him at a couple events. Good dude, great photographer. Yeah, these are just cool, moody shots of these cool Fords. And I presume this is like in California, which makes it all the more cool. We've had a lot of like Explorers. Maybe that's like a Traverse. I don't know. These are cool shots. I mean, this looks like this looks like it's straight out of a 1987 issue of Top Gear or something. Headlights are on. Like, okay, I'm getting too excited. So these are pretty similar. So we're not going to talk about the two of those. So I'm just going to take that out. But this is not my favorite crop on this. You've got a low perspective. Maybe it would have been more interesting to see a little bit more of the side, but these are really strong, like moody shots. Cool location, just so lo-fi analog. Looking at the three shots, like I kind of wish the skies and tones were a little more evenly balanced. You know, this one's more green, this is more purple, this is more kind of purple blue. But I'm really just nitpicking, and I kind of bumped these ahead because I wanted to look at these. I think these are such cool shots. I mean, we've got a tire fender here where I would want to see that tire just kind of straight on. It's possible that you had it turned. Just obviously, this car is straight on. This car is turned this way. This car is turned the opposite way. Maybe you were taking a photo from this perspective, and you kind of wanted them all pointed towards each other, but it would probably be best if none of the wheels were turned or just this one. I mean, I don't love how that edge of the road like hits that edge of the car, but it took me a while to even notice because yeah, these are interesting group shots. This is a group shot, but we also see a lot of the background. We see the scene. Yeah, just a good mood. And then still like some cool foreground stuff. So group shots are tricky, and these are very cool. So thank you. All right, so that was the first batch of feedback. Let me know if you liked how I handled this. Maybe if I didn't spend enough time on the photos, I'm sorry. If I spent too much time on some, let me know. Should I filter these submissions? I don't think so. I think something can be learned from every photo. If I was too harsh on any photos, I don't mean to be. And if you sent something in, I appreciate and recognize the effort you made to send something in and look for feedback and seek out improvement. So pat yourself on the back for that, every one of you. You have the right attitude to get good. I think that wraps this up. Thank you for watching. Send stuff in, and I'll see you next time.